If you struggle to say no, if your boundaries collapse the moment someone else needs something, or if you're exhausted from being the peacemaker, this video is for you. What most people call people pleasing is often something much deeper, a fawning response inside the nervous system. And if you've tried to stop people pleasing with logic or willpower, but still cave, collapse, or soften yourself, there's a really good reason for that. And it's not because you're weak, it's because a protector part of you is trying to keep you safe. Hi, I'm Andrea Tessier. I'm a master life coach and IFS practitioner, and I help people learn to trust themselves. I help you reconnect to the parts of you who long for clarity, truth, self-honoring, so that you can lead your life, your relationships, and purpose from your true self, the calm, wise core within you. And if that speaks to you, make sure you hit like, subscribe, or share this with someone who needs it. All right, let's dive in. People think people pleasing is a personality flaw. It is not. Through the lens of internal family systems, or IFS, people pleasing is a protective strategy. It is a part of you that learned, if I keep the peace, I'll be safe. If I help someone, no one will leave. If I don't rock the boat, nothing bad will happen. If I just stay agreeable, people will like me. Or it's just easier if I say yes. That's the fawn response. It's actually not about being nice, it's about survival. And these parts of you work so fast, your mouth is saying yes before self energy even gets a moment to breathe. Or maybe you say no at first, or two or three times, but quickly retract when there is uncomfortable pushback. So we have to name this here because the way I see it, naming something creates recognition and recognition creates power. It's a really great starting point. You might have a part like the peacemaker that is terrified of conflict, always smoothing edges. You might have a good girl, good boy, good human part that says, I need to be pleasant so that I can be accepted. You could have a helper part that truly values helping other people at the expense of ignoring your own needs. You could have one that's called the harmonizer that says, well, I'm not going to rock the boat. It's just easier to cave in and not cause a problem. You might have a part that's like the soother that's managing everybody's emotions so they don't explode. Or the one that's controlling, "Oh, it's just easier if I do it." And these parts, whichever flavor resonates with you, believe that they're doing the noble thing. But what they're really doing is making sure you feel safe in the only way they know how. But the cost? I mean, you already know. If you're living in this fawn response, you're so exhausted you could cry. Your body is so tired of bending in every direction. You're resentful that you swallow it. You never actually get what you want because your needs never make it to the surface. And every time you say yes when you mean no, a small part of you whispers, does anyone even see me? Do I matter here? And love, that is not drama. That is a part of you speaking truth, advocating for your needs. I want to bring this to life with a client story. She's a mother, a loving, generous woman who cares so deeply for her family that she would bend herself into exhaustion to make sure everyone was okay, has what they needed, and gets to where they need to go on time. Inside her home, something quiet but powerful has happened over the years. Everyone has learned that her no doesn't actually mean no. And if they ask again or ask louder or add urgency, she would eventually cave. And she believed she was upholding some important family value she was trying to impose, that in this house we help each other, which is lovely. But she was the only one doing the helping. And as a result, she was burnt out. She was invisible. She was holding the whole ship together and somehow didn't feel like she mattered. And so, of course, she was resentful, right? But too terrified to change the pattern because the deeper truth that if she said no, if they were upset, if harmony broke, a younger part of her believed she would lose her belonging. Or she'd have to deal with an even larger discomfort. So her yes wasn't generosity, it was fear and martyrdom. When we worked together, we discovered something profound. Her exiled parts needed to know that they mattered too. They needed to feel safe, even if someone else didn't like the boundary. They needed to trust that their needs were just as important as everyone else's. Once those parts began to soften, she stopped caving, not because she forced herself, but because the parts who were terrified stopped running the show. Her no finally meant something. And with that, her sense of self and her sense of worth came home to her. So here's an important question that I would invite you to ask yourself. Do you believe you are just as important as they are? And you might say yes on the surface because that is the right answer. But if there is a part of you, even deep down, that doesn't believe that your needs or desires carry the same weight, IFS helps us meet that part. Because until that part feels valued, included, and understood, it will keep handing your power away to stay safe. So, boundary collapses aren't a failure. They're a sign that your system still believes my needs don't matter as much as theirs. And that is longing to be healed. Your protective parts simply don't trust that saying no is safe. They're afraid of anger, they're afraid of disappointment, they're afraid of withdrawal of love or affection, they're afraid of the possibility of conflict, the risk of being seen differently. They believe that keeping everyone else happy is the only way to keep you safe. And until they feel your self, your capital S self, the grounded, wise, anchored center that is supporting your needs, they're not going to step back. But when they do, and IFS gives you such a powerful way to do that, everything changes. Self-led boundaries aren't sharp, rigid walls. They're not defensive. They do not cost you anything. They feel like clarity. They feel like warmth. They feel like calm and compassion. Truth without fear. A self-led no might sound like, hey, I appreciate you asking, but that won't work for me this week. Or I can't say yes to that, but thank you for thinking of me. Or sometimes when someone keeps pushing because they are used to the dynamic and they're not hearing you, self energy can become clearer without losing compassion. It's an, I've said this a few times that I can't do this right now. It seems that isn't landing. I'm actually not available today, but I'll help tomorrow at 3. See the difference? It's not sharp, it's not angry, it's not punishing or blaming. It's simply claiming the truth with steadiness. No collapse, no caving, no bending yourself out of shape. And that's what it sounds like when your boundary is held by self, not fear. So this is what becomes possible when your protectors trust yourself to lead. So let's try something right now. Think of the last time you said yes when you meant no. Where do you feel that in your body? Is it in your chest, your stomach, your throat? See if you can locate the part in or around your body who believes it's safer to be agreeable than to speak your truth. And just notice it, not to fix, not to force. Acknowledge the one who's been protecting you for so long. You might say to this part, I'm aware of you. I accept that you're here and now I'm available. Because this moment of recognition begins the healing. Because pleasing isn't a habit you break, it's a part you learn to meet with compassion. And when your protectors trust yourself, that compassionate core, boundaries are quite natural. Saying no becomes simple. And you stop living an exhausted, resentful, and invisible life. You begin living in alignment with yourself. So if this resonated, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It really helps this work reach more people who are ready to trust themselves again. And let me know below what part of you says yes when you really want to say no. I'd really love to hear from you.